Hi there, hope you're well. For a while now I've been using my Tascam Portastudio 424 Mark III to create a vintage lo-fi DI sounding fuzz effect. I plug in the guitar, crank the input gain all the way up, tweak the EQ as required and route it back into my desk to record. This works great in the studio but is obviously completely impractical from a live point of view. I wondered if you'd be up for helping me come up with a pedal to bottle this sound, or if you had anything that comes close in your current range. I've tried out a few fuzzes, overdrives, and nothing nails the breakup in quite the same way as the Tascam. I'd be happy for you to cannibalise a channel from my Portastudio if necessary. I'd quite like the pedal to go further than the Portastudio in terms of distortion range, with the 12 o'clock setting giving me the Portastudio sound, leaving plenty of room to go fuzzier. I can supply audio samples of the Tascam in action. Looking forward to hearing from you. Cheers, Matt Pinfields. So that was an email that I sent in 2013 to a man called Tom, who I believe still runs a company called Effects, about the possibility of cannibalising my 4-track cassette, my childhood 4-track cassette. This one, which players of a certain generation will no doubt recognise. Dusty old 4-track. He was quite receptive to the idea, but he did have the flu. Maybe he'll remember. If he is out there, it's entirely possible that this might pop up on his feed, I suppose. So if Tom from Effects is out there and remembers this, I wonder if he had the same reaction as me this August when JHS announced the 424 gain stage. That's this guy. The title of this video was I Invented This Pedal in 2013. And, you know, I stand by that, not clickbait. But this isn't me going, oh, look at me, look at me. Those of you who watch this channel regularly will know that I don't buy a lot of gear. I think in the time that this channel, you know, since we've been taking it seriously, I've bought the Boss GX10 and the Rickenbacker, and that's it. So when they announced this...
And the red amp.
Oh, and the red amp. And the red amp. I still don't think that's a lot of equipment in nearly a year. But when they announced this in August, I was so keen on buying it. I was like, oh my God! I ordered it directly from the JHS website and imported it from America. And it cost me more money, didn't it, than if I'd just ordered it from Anderton's on the same day. And it took like a week to come. So of course, all like the adverts for that pedal, you know, all your big time content creators do their adverts, JHS, you know, sponsored videos. And mine hadn't even arrived yet. But, you know, that's fine, isn't it? When you watch a review of something that's come out that week, basically what you're getting is like a first impressions, and there's some value in that. What you're getting today, folks, is the detailed rundown of the potential of this fantastic piece of gear. Not just if you're a Tascam fan, because what you've got here is an incredible tone shaping machine. Perfect for the sort of stuff that I do. And the main thing that I will say about it before we get stuck into it, like all the best gear, it is like an incredible creative tool. These things have had a resurgence, and they never went away for a certain type of person, and that's me included. They get a lot of love, they get a lot of hate, you know, and all things in between. There's a certain nostalgia to this unit. Obviously, I got this when it came out. As you can see, it's quite dusty. I still use it. You know, the people that know these things know the sort of potential of them. Some people like the cassettes. Some people think, you know, why would you use a cassette in the recording environment? A lot of people like the channel strips. For me, it has been a mainstay in my little project studio when I'm looking for something a little bit different, or if I want to, you know, add some texture or color to something. Cassette element, I still use occasionally. But the main thing that gets and got use historically is this preamp. This is not a Neve preamp. This is not some like high-end studio gear, but it does have like a fantastic character. You know, there's a certain type of person that would rubbish that, but I feel like this JHS pedal proves or like validates in some way what I've been saying for years, and what like I know a lot of my music mates say for years, which is that, you know, quite apart from the cassette, you can have a lot of fun with that. And now it's in a pedal, which is frankly brilliant. The reason I emailed that guy was because we were doing a lot of gigs at that time. We'd just made an album, me and Lucy and some other people. There's a particular guitar solo, and I'll post the song below. That is the sound, the thing that I always used to come back to with that. Nothing to do with the cassette, it's just to do with the preamp and putting it into other stuff, which I've been told is now, you know, a thing in mainstream music by somebody called Mk.gee. Is he? I think he's Scottish, isn't he? I'm guessing he's Scottish with a name like Mk.gee. But basically, I'd not heard of Mk.gee until last night. So what we'll do at this point is we'll show the video of me reacting to Mk.gee using his Tascam, I think on Jimmy Kimmel.
You gotta love Biscoff.
Mk.gee! What we got there? Okay. Fender Jaguar. Yeah, nice. What's that little Sting style saxophone? Yeah. I can't see the 4-track at the minute. Where's his 4-track? I can see the 4-track. There it is, look. See the little white, is it? White thing there. Do you reckon he's moved to the JHS? Very good.
So there you go. That was me reacting to Mk.gee. I quite liked it. I think he was doing like baritone guitar on his Jaguar, wasn't he? And I'm asking Lucy. She'll definitely know. Low tuned, obviously kind of DI sound. Super cool. The sound of the DI guitar is a sound that again sort of divides people almost as much as Tascam 4-track cassette machines. I love the sound of a DI guitar personally. In a certain sort of mix or, you know, in a certain situation sonically, it's perfect. And so that's what we're going to look at today, but we're also going to look at a couple of things that no one is really mentioning about this. But I think what we'll do first is we will take a little look down there and you'll see the usual setup. If you've just bought the JHS pedal, let me show you what you've got. And in this case, in the case of this model, what you haven't got. You've got the volume here, which I believe is the master volume. You've got gain 2, which is the fader, and gain 1, which is the, you know, the trim, gain trim. The first thing we'll do is show you, I think, what most people use it for, or like what you see a lot of demos doing, and what, you know, really I did on that solo as well. Basically, what I would do for a certain type of sound is that, and then however loud it needed to be, you know, into the recording device, which after you've done all that, not that loud, turn that up and record. And of course, you can put it through, as I think Mk.gee does, you know, other pedals, which we will be doing as well today. This thing has an incredible amount of gain, as did the Tascam 4-track. This is with the level set that I need it to be set going into the computer so that I can show you all the bits today. Here we go. So incredibly quiet. We've got the compressor always on. That's in the effects loop of that. So it's Keeley, EQ, into the hotcake, output of that, into the JHS, output of the JHS into the Boss. And as you will have probably seen on the promotional material for that, there's a DI out on there, which is really cool. I haven't really played with it that much, but there's an XLR out on there. There you go. That's how it sounds before you add the JHS. Then everything at 12 o'clock, here we go. Quite a bit more gain straight away. So let's go through what I used to do for this guy. It would be trim all the way up. Channel fader all the way up. And you can hear it now doing its thing. And then set that to wherever you want it. I would then also send some Crowd the Hotcake through it. You can see the wave on the, well you can't, but I can tell you that the wave on the computer is completely square. Compressor not really doing anything at this point. And then a slap echo on this guy. There you go. And then the solo sounds like this. There you go, not bad for a first take. Here it comes again. Let's turn that off, give our ears a rest. So that's pretty cool. Now what that obviously also puts you in the world of is, you know, stuff like this. And we'll probably stop there with that one, but I'm sure you all know what. I'm sure you all know what that is. There's one other thing on here. You've got a bass and a treble. Now the EQ on that thing is crazily underrated. You're missing, compared to my unit at least, you're missing the mid-range, which I always used to like on that, but I think they've modelled it on like a different version here, a simpler version of it. So that Tascam has got a sweepable mid-range. If I want to do the thing that I used to do, which was like, generally it would be boost the treble a little bit and boost the mid-range. Obviously I can do that here. So let's now, yeah, there you go. You're gonna sneeze. That's better already. And then that's more like it. The word with this kind of sound is poke. It basically just, it kind of gets your guitar and goes, puts it into a little, a nice little pocket. Let's turn it back on again. Let's have a play with some of the controls, shall we? So that is just the JHS. Now I think that's super cool. Let's add the mid on that as well. Here we go. It's quite loud in here. If the energy is a bit lower than usual today, slightly more of a relaxed, I mean obviously the sounds are pretty high energy, but if my energy is slightly more relaxed than usual, that's because I'm in the taper. If you know what taper is, not from drugs, taper or alcohol, taper from marathon training. Yeah, basically you stop running for a bit before you race. So there you go, that's why. You see, I'm always going for that EQ at the minute. If they do a Mark II, which I reckon they should put it that blue colour, and they should put a double knob on it, sweepable mid-range. That's my suggestion to you, Josh at JHS. Or you could just make me one and send it across. Cheers. So let's now just have a look at what the Gain 2 does. That's really cool, isn't it? Let's turn the mid off a bit. Much cooler with the mid on. Mid-range, or even let's put the Crowd the Hotcake on, shall we? So. Yeah, excellent. Should we bump the bass up, yeah? Sounds like it's about to give up, doesn't it? Here we go. Back we go. So far then, we've basically done like your classic dry Tascam gain sounds. Very kind of bratty, very sort of bedroom kind of indie lo-fi vibe. Really cool. But that is literally the tip of the iceberg with this beast. Now we will move on to some fun stuff. Yeah, I'm about a 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10 today. What I always liked with it was to combine it with stereo stuff and kind of other effects that sort of like widen it on the margins. And that's where the old Bosch GX10 comes in. So let's turn it on. We'll start with it all at 12. You got a little taste of that with the slap on the MXR. I've got all my greatest hits set up on here. We've got the Jeff Buckley chorus. Very slow chorus, which I think is cool, but kind of works better when there's an amp involved, which we will get to. Then you've got the Johnny Marr chorus, which with this is fantastic. If you don't know what the Johnny Marr chorus is, they could go and have a look at the video. There, I reckon. Here it is. That's fantastic, isn't it? I think we're getting into Mk.gee territory there, aren't we? Part of the beautiful thing about tape is the sort of the wobbliness of it, about cassette, you know, bad quality tape. Pairing this thing with some level of modulation is a very cool idea. If I clean that up, stick on like a really wide vibrato. That's what I'm talking about. Here we go, so you can really hear that. Beautiful. Now with the Johnny Marr. And, you know, I did say about making it wide, so what we'll do at this point, I should add that there's been no amps involved at this point, not any of them, no amps on here, but we will, in a sec, stick the amps on. Let's now stick some reverb on. Beautiful. What about some delay as well? Let's... Nice. Super nice. So you can see, I think, the idea of taking a really like small sound, quite a contained sort of tonally basic sound, and putting it through kind of bigger stuff. You know, it's a simple idea, but it just works so well. And I think that is where this thing for me shines. It's like when you start really messing around with the modulation and the reverbs. Let's now, and you're going to have to sort of reset your ears because DI sounds are very sort of mid-rangey and warm and fuzzy. And they have a certain character. What I'm going to do now is turn some amp modelling on, and you can hear what it does with that. I've got a Twin and a JC120. Let's turn, is that on? That's really nice. So that, I mean, it sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Treble up on there. Here we go. Very subtle when you get the amps involved. Back that off, let's warm it up a bit and let's boost. So we're boosting the trim on the Tascam now, so it crunches up a little bit. Let's go a little further. Vibrato on. Really cool. A big part of the Tascam is it completely changes the feel of the guitar under your hands. It's just a completely different feel to like tapping on a tube amp, and I think a very different sound. You know, I'm no shredder, but beautiful sound. Really cool. folks. I do hope you've enjoyed that. Peanut's had enough. Hello. He always tells you when the video's over, doesn't he, Peanut? If you've got any questions about the JHS 424, I think, for me, the pedal of 2025, it's a bold claim. An incredibly creative and wonderful piece of equipment that, yeah, I invented in 2013, sure. But JHS did a fantastic job of building in 2025, and I'm so glad that they did. Don't forget to like the video if you've liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you are new around here, and we'll see you next time for some more.